presentations and be a part of the first group for the New Lots, Friends of the New Lots African Burial Ground. He also was instrumental in creating a plaque on the new building across the street, which is help me, the name of the building again? It's the New Lots Plaza. The New Lots Plaza, which is across the street, is a new affordable housing development. So if you haven't taken a look at it, it's a brand new beautiful building on New Lots in the corner of Garvey. And there's a plaque on the outside that commemorates the burial ground and just in remembrance of the folks who were forgotten. So again, my name is Catherine Green. And we're going to start the presentation. So about 2 years ago now? About 2 years ago, we started a group called going even further back, met one of our board members here at the New Lots Library in this very room, and she told me that there was this rumor of a burial ground being built under the library, and I'm like, well, that's crazy. That's a rumor. It can't be. But it started to really drill. We started to discuss it more and more. So I said, well, let's just go take a look down. Let's go to Historical Society. There's got to be something. So we went there. We spent about a good 3 to 4 hours at the Historical Society, and we couldn't find anything. We couldn't find anything. No books, no nothing. We ripped through everything. This is before I knew the councilman, and he knew. And yeah, we ripped through everything. Couldn't find a thing. So we said, well, let's check some maps. Maybe there's something visual that we can see. And boom, we did find a map. So if you can switch to the next slide, we'll show you guys to the next one. So the first thing we did, we went to these maps here from 1874. Or you can move it over, Russ, if you yeah, if you can. Can everybody see? Sort of, kind of? All right. So those are the maps from 1874, and there was another year, I think, 1878. Yeah. And if you can switch to the next one. And right here is where we found, we saw the land. So if you take a look on the map, forgive me because this was supposed to be on the stage. If you take a look at the red box, is there any way to move it down a little bit? No. Where we have it cornered off in the red rectangle, there was, thank you. There's 2 cemeteries. Now, if you see where it says RDCH, that's the Reformed Dutch Church, which sits across the street, which is still here to this day. It's across the street, and then the cemetery that lays next to it. But then what we saw was across the street where the library is, and the park was a cemetery and a school. So we knew, okay, that there was a cemetery here, but then we still didn't realize, we didn't know who was buried here. So if you switch to the next slide. Again, this is another close-up view of the church across the street with the cemetery that's still in existence now, and then the cemetery and the school. And then the next one. Come on. All right, and that is actually the map. That's the map of the New Lots community back then. Can you switch to one more? Okay, so once we found out that there was a cemetery here, I started to get really anxious. And I'm like, there has to be something that shows that there was actually black folks buried here, not just, just a cemetery plot. So we dug some more, we ripped through all of the books, and we finally found a quote. And that quote by Mr. Isaac Skank. So Skank, you guys know where the farmer's market is, right on the corner. That is, if you can switch to the next slide, we found a quote. I'll try to read it off the screen. 2 more. Okay. And this is Mr. Isaac Skank. All right, and if you, oh boy, I can't read that. Well.
We saw the necessity of having a new burial ground. African
people
are overcrowding.
Thank you very much.
I saw that.
Okay, so.
Black people were overcrowding us in the old one.
Exactly. So what he was saying in this quote is a little too distorted right now. But what he's saying in this quote is that his family, 200 years before this quote, was buried in that cemetery that lies beneath lies beneath this library. But because black people were overcrowding the cemetery, they moved all the bodies across the street, which is right next door to the church. And that was it. Boom. We confirmed that there were black people buried underneath this library, and that we have no idea who these people are to this day. And it burns me, and I'm so happy that I met the council here, and we were able to really do some work to push forward and make sure that we, one, get more information about what's going on here, what happened to these people, who they were. The records are immaculate. I found the records from all of the folks across the street, and if they were slaves of those people, then there should be records of them as well. So we think we have a pretty good way to go as far as research is concerned. Now, you know, I would like the councilman to talk to you a little bit about what he knows from the history.
Thank you very much. I want to put this in a larger context. You know, right downtown at City Hall, 20,000 of our ancestral remains are under City Hall. And they're all downtown. We fought hard to stop them from building another building on top of the last 427. If you're familiar with the African burial ground right downtown Manhattan, we fought hard for that because New York City was one of the largest slave states in the Union. When people think of slavery, they think about the South. Well, up south here, New York City had more slaves than every other state in the Union but Virginia. As a matter of fact, a lot of the slaves that ran away, or we should say enslaved Africans, because we're not slaves. We're Africans that Europeans enslaved. And we don't have any masters. Those are European slave drivers or slave holders. We're not masters or somebody's subject. So we fought hard to say, stop the digging. And you also give the spirit of Sonny Abubadika Carson. He was a black activist, he died, but Sonny Carson, along with others, went down in the ditch and made them stop the excavation, and that's why we have a burial ground today. Let's give the spirit of That's what they did. And when you go down there, the thing that angers me most, when you see the skeletal remains, we had to fight to make sure that they buried them properly or reburied them properly, that they didn't disturb the remains. We made them go to Africa, to go to Ghana to make the little caskets and the bigger holders of the caskets. And we said, you're going to respect our people. You're going to hold them and put another building on top of it over our dead bodies, our people. And what angered me, half of the people that you see were children. And there's a mother down there with the skeletal remains of the mother and her baby in her arms. So here we are, our blood, sweat, and tears to build this city. And what they did is they tried to pit us against the indigenous people, the so-called Indians. And they tried to give us some land right in between where they were fighting the indigenous people so we could go against each other. But we were smarter than that. We hooked up with them. And then they had some real battles on their hands. When you go downtown and you see Wall Street was the wall that our folk built, and they sold us on Wall Street. They sold us. We were the commodities that they sold on Wall Street. So when y'all see me acting up downtown, that's why. They get on my last nerve. Very last one. And you would think that when you walk through City Hall, you would see some pictures of the Africans that built New York City, but no, they have nothing but white men up in the, and it scares me because they're life-size pictures. And they're from the colonial period. I can't concentrate. I think they're going to come out and do something. So I had to fuss and fight and tell them, put some black people up there. And, you know, every time I raise that stuff, they say, there he go again, talking about race. You know, when you point out racism, they call you the racist. You put the pictures up there, and you should have put some. I'm not bringing children from East New York to City Hall to look at old white men on the wall like we didn't do nothing. So because I fussed, we got Adam Clayton Powell's picture up in City Hall. And we told our children the truth about history. Thomas Jefferson was a slaveholder.
Yes.
George Washington sold us for molasses. So we want a street for Sonny Carson. We want to name Linden Park after Sonny Carson.